Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6-6 Game
Jameson Williams, he's got it! Touchdown, Lions!
Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores! Gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
Wow. That's very appropriate considering how good Dylan Larkin was last night. Welcome, everybody, into X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. We are live and we are with you on a number of different stations throughout our great state, and we always appreciate the partnership that we have. Of course, in Cadillac, WKAD, the Ticket 93.7 FM in Grand Rapids that serves Kalamazoo and Holland and that beautiful area over there, 96.1 FM, the Game, WMAX. In Petoskey and Charlevoix, the Tick in Northern Michigan. Love being on up north, WMBN 104.7 FM in Lansing. And they're celebrating today and for good reason, and we'll tell you why. WVFN AM, 7:30 a.m., the Game, and Traverse City's WKAD 93.7 FM, the Ticket. We also stream live on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. We welcome your comments there, and we also welcome your phone calls on the Meyer Hotline. 866-838-4843. And we also always encourage you to text us at Sports Radio 21,000. Dylan Larkin and the Red Wings in their first game back since the Olympic break. They go to overtime in Ottawa, and they take care of business in a 2-1 final. Larkin gets the game winner. He also scored the goal during regulation. So both goals for Detroit. He's now has 13 overtime winners. That is a new franchise record. Now remember this. When Sergei Fedorov set the record with 12, there was no 3-on-3. If there was 3-on-3, Sergei Fedorov would have a hell of a lot more than 12, but that's not the point. The point is it's a franchise record for Dylan Larkin. Good for him. Lucas Raymond had 2 helpers. John Gibson made 25 saves for his 23rd win of the year. Detroit looking good, playing good, feeling good, and hopefully, and you were listening to more and more NHL rumors, if you will. And by the way, the Wings, because the Canadians lost last night in overtime, the Wings now leapfrog them. They're in second place in the division by themselves, behind Tampa, 6 points back at Tampa. Tampa had that unbelievable run where they won 21 of 22. They lost last night, but still, Detroit was 74 points, 6 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they are third in the conference overall. But there's more and more rumors being leaked out, if you will, that the Wings are in on a number of different guys. So Rob Thomas is one of them from St. Louis, so that's kind of encouraging. Elias Pettersson is another one. That's somewhat encouraging. There is a report that Detroit made an offer to Vancouver for Tyler Myers, the big right-handed shooting defenseman. He has a no-trade clause, or he can pick a certain amount of teams. Obviously, Detroit was now one of them, so he has to waive that. So we're awaiting word on there. So we'll see what happens. But Steve Yzerman's working the phones. He's being aggressive so far here in during the season and as we approach the trade deadline, which is March 6th. Michigan State has its most, I would argue, its most impressive win. They go into Mackey, and they beat Purdue 76-74. It had been 4,389 days since they had done that, 2014, the last 7. They don't play in Mackey every single year, so you got to keep that in mind. But they improved to 13-4 in Big Ten play and 23-4 overall. Absolutely loved the character of what that team did. When you talk about tough places to win, as I've said numerous times on the show, but in case you haven't listened, I think it's the hardest place in the Big Ten. They said it during the broadcast a number of times last night. Michigan State shooting 53% on the game. They didn't make a lot of threes. They only made 6 triples, but they shot 53%. They didn't turn the ball over, only 6 turns. You'd like the assist number to be a little bit higher because they had 15 dimes on 29 makes. You're not going to complain about going in to Purdue and beating that basketball team led by Matt Painter. So we'll get to that coming up as well. Purdue, a team that when you look at it, doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, that they too shot pretty well, 50%. They made twice as many threes, but Michigan State getting to the free throw line and making those free throws. You'd like it higher. It's only 75%, but you would like it a little bit higher. That's what was the difference in the game. Pistons are going to host Cleveland tonight. Donovan Mitchell has been ruled out with a groin injury for Cleveland. So let's be honest here for a moment. And it's awesome because the Pistons are a team that has to be reckoned with. I saw a podcast the other day with Sam Amick, and he said, look, the Pistons since mid-December, best team in the NBA. San Antonio's right there with them. Their body of work has to make you believe, because people are wondering if you can put, that playoff resume together in order for you to win a championship, be considered a championship contender. Why is San Antonio a contender? Victor Wembanyama's never played in the playoffs. Why are they a contender this year? I heard a talk show host in New York yesterday say the Knicks are still the team to beat in the East. I'm baffled by that. I really am. It's not that they can't win a playoff series, but what is the blind belief?
That's an indefensible take. It really is.
I don't.
What's the reasoning?
He actually said, we'll play it a little bit later. He actually said that the Knicks have nothing to prove to the Pistons, but the Pistons have everything to prove to the Knicks. Like, everybody thinks this regular season series that went 3-0 Detroit, winning by 38, 31, and 15 is all because New York beat them in the playoffs last year. And quite honestly, that may have been the case in the first game. That has nothing to do with the last two. Detroit is beating teams because they want to win. Detroit's beating teams because they want to be the first overall seed in the NBA. They want to be the first team in the slot for the Eastern Conference. I don't understand how you can go into that mindset. You want to protect your home. That's fine. You want to protect your hometown team and your hometown guys because you know them and you root for them and you're on the edge of your seat on a regular basis. That's cool. There's nothing wrong. Don't give us bull crap, though. Don't feed me stuff like they have nothing to prove to the Pistons. Go ask Jalen Brunson if they've got something to prove to the Pistons.
Well, yeah, that's how I look at it too. Like, do you think, not to say the Knicks are afraid of anybody because they're a good team, but do you think the Knicks want to play the Pistons?
I
don't. The playoffs?
Honestly, I don't think they look at it like that. I don't think athletes look at it like that.
But do you think? Okay, what about
we always talk about it from a fan perspective. I wouldn't want to face, whereas athletes have a different mindset. It's completely different. They're more like, bring on anybody on. I don't think they I don't think they care. I really
okay,
don't.
sure. So maybe a better way to phrase it is, I don't think the fan base, I don't think Knicks fans want to see the Pistons.
Why would they? After seeing what Detroit, I've said this numerous times. It's a bad matchup for the Knicks. Detroit's a physical team. The way they play. Here's what we're missing in general, I believe. And I hope I'm right about this because I've been on it for a while. Detroit, the way Detroit plays translates into the postseason. That doesn't always mean success because you need to be able to shoot the ball in the postseason. Cade Cunningham is going to get doubled. Cade Cunningham is going to get more. They're going to be more physical with him. I think he can take it. He's a 6'6" guard who can take it inside and he can step back and all these other things, right? We know his game. But other guys are going to have to elevate their game. You're going to have to get better shooting. There's no question about that. We've got more information to come your way before we get to the Mitch Lyons-Well poll question. Glad you're with us on a Friday here, a Ferris Coffee Friday. We're brought to you by Mitch Lyons-Well.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Avelo Air knows how much you love the Tigers. They love them too. They want to help you get to spring training in Lakeland because it is an awesome time. They fly nonstop from Grand Rapids to Lakeland Thursdays and Sundays, and nonstop from Detroit to Lakeland Wednesdays and Saturdays. Everyday low fares and reliable service. You don't want to fly anywhere else. Book your trip to Lakeland on AveloAir.com and use the promo code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare when you book by March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
Felt good tonight, and you know, it's a lot different than a Olympic gold medal game and against Canada, but you know, that goal is huge for our team, and it's been so great being back with the guys, and they've been so you know, great to me since I've been back, and to score that one tonight, it's up there. It feels pretty special.
Remember how we wondered just a little bit? How do you go from the greatest locker room in the history of your sport, at least from the United States standpoint, to a regular season game after winning a gold medal? What would the mindset be? Well, Dylan Larkin's mindset was just fine. He was able to get those beers out of his system pretty well, don't you think? It'd take me a little bit longer. I wouldn't have been able to do that. A lot of us wouldn't have been able to do that. Maybe in college. Maybe Trent and his friends at Michigan State could flush those beers out of their system fast enough where they could actually perform at a Gus Macker event. I don't know.
Doubt it.
I could not do what Dylan Larkin just did, scoring 2 goals last night, including the overtime game winner. Good for him. Good for the Red Wings. The Red Wings, listen to this here. Against the Atlantic Division, their division, okay? They are 4-0 against Toronto. They are 3-0 against Ottawa. They're 1-0 against Florida, the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. They are 1-1 against Boston, 1-1 against Tampa, which may surprise some people, 1-1 against Montreal, 0-1 against Buffalo. In other words, they are 11-4-2 in their division. They have a winning percentage of 70.5%. Pretty damn good. Good for them. And super pumped for them the rest of the way. I do wonder if people are more excited about watching them play or if they're more excited about what they may add at the trade deadline. In Detroit, at some point, the city, not the Wings, the city is going to, if it hasn't already, gain a reputation, at least among locals. I think a lot of people feel this way, of a team that believes in its youth and is playing the long game. And I think that's a nice way of saying they don't want to pull the trigger on a big trade. The Tigers haven't done it. The Lions haven't done it. The Pistons haven't done it. And we're waiting on the Red Wings. There's no big trade that I can think of at the trade deadline that Steve Eisen has made. And I guess there's no reason to do that. Last year, maybe. Peter Mrazek doesn't count. Sorry. Getting Kevin Huerter for the Pistons does not count. Getting Charlie Morton at the end of his career and getting others, Chris Paddock, doesn't count. So it's been a while since the fans of Detroit sports has been able to get super excited about an acquisition. I mean, maybe Zadarius Smith, if that's the biggest deal you got, acquiring a guy the year before he decides to hang it up in the middle of a season on a division-leading team that some felt could have gone back to the Super Bowl, Philadelphia, then you've got problems. It's not as much for the NFL at the trade deadline. It's more about free agency, isn't it? And think about the free agents that the Lions have signed that has made you turn your head. I don't care what anybody said. When Kevin Zeitler signed here, it barely moved your needle. If you were writing some type of note and it was announced to you, the Lions just signed Kevin Zeitler, you would have finished the sentence and barely moved your head. DJ Reed, probably the same thing, even though we liked both those moves. David Montgomery, you might have stopped writing and looked up and said, oh, that's good. But those are the 3 guys that they have signed. Who am I missing? If you say Marcus Davenport, you get punched in the liver. So who have we missed that the Lions have signed? This is why there are such an anticipation for the trade deadline and the Red Wings. because we're dying to see one team show us just how much they want to, quote unquote, go for it. So we really haven't seen it. Not every team is needed to. If you look back, would you say the Pistons needed to add a shooter? Yes or no? It's a simple question.
Yes.
Did they?
Yeah. Last night he played for the first time in 2 weeks, so it's a little different, but I hear you.
2 nights ago?
Yeah, 2 nights ago.
My
bad.
Played 8 minutes, took one shot.
Yeah, right. So he's not even really having the impact that you would have hoped when you said they needed a shooter, you know?
Exactly right.
Not even close.
He hasn't made an impact at all. Has he?
No.
And let's be honest here.
He's not in the rotation, point blank.
No, he's not a thought. Maybe if you get way ahead of your opponent, he's a thought. I mean, I like JB Bickerstaff. I loved that hire. I said it from the very get-go. I'm not blaming Trajan Langdon per se. I think his team's good enough to win the East. I truly believe that. I think some things have to go right for them. But they did have a need, and it wasn't addressed. It wasn't. He's played 5 games. Trent, he's played 5 games for the Pistons.
Yeah, and no
That's it.
meaningful minutes whatsoever.
None.
It's all either garbage time or just DNP every game.
But he scored 17 points in the entire 5 games. Do you know how many triples he's made? He's a guy that was brought in to hit threes. And at one point in his career, he hit 205 threes. When he was in Sacramento, he hit 205 threes. So it's not like he can't shoot the ball.
Right. So of his 17 points, I'd guess 12 came on threes. So I'll say 4.
He's hitting 1.
Oh, okay. Great.
He's 1 for 10. So that has not, it's mean to say that it hasn't been addressed, but it's true. If he were that important, he would be getting regular minutes. He wouldn't be averaging in the games in which he's played, and he's been available to play in more than 5, but he's only played in 5. He's averaging 11 minutes a game. And that just, that doesn't address the need as far as I'm concerned. Let me give you a couple of quick headlines here in case you missed it overnight. Connor McDavid scored a goal and an assist in the Oilers' 8-1 win over the Kings in LA. McDavid now over 100 points on the year for a 6th straight year. His 9th such season overall. There's only 3 players in the history of the sport who have 9 or more 100-point seasons. Who are they? Wayne Gretzky, 15. Mario Lemieux, 10. Connor McDavid isn't 30 yet, and he has 9. And lastly, Con Knippel. Con Knippel hits a career-tying high 8 threes in the Hornets' win over the Pacers. He sets the NBA rookie record. He now has 209 threes on the year. Who was the rookie who had the record? Was
it Klay Thompson? That would have been my guess.
Good guess. Keegan Murray. Never would have guessed.
I guess that kind of makes sense, though, because the league has changed so much that, of course, it's going to be a guy from the last 4 or 5 years. But I never would have guessed Keegan Murray, though.
As good as he's had, and it's been really good. You could argue he's the rookie of the year. As good as he has been, wait till you hear the single-season 3-point leaders. I'll give you that when we come back. Plus another milestone in the NBA. And have the Tigers won a game yet in the spring? We'll get to all that coming up here on X's and Bros. We're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. Stay with us.
Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan. Now, they continue to grow. They got their worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are worldwide. They are the leaders when it comes to accounting, CPA, and business needs. Simple and easy. Just Google Dorn Mayhew. And also Josh Garvey joins me every Tuesday as we talk hoops with former Michigan and Cleveland Cavaliers head coach John Beilein. Tuesdays, 5 p.m., Josh Garvey, Coach Beilein, and myself, we talk Michigan, Michigan State, and the Pistons. Talking hoops happens all the way through the NBA Finals. And could you imagine if the Pistons are in the NBA Finals? If you ever have a hoops question for us, you can drop it at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook, and Talking Hoops every Tuesday at 5 p.m. presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew.
Hey, when you travel, you want low fares, you want reliable service, and you want a direct flight. Avelo Air gives you all of that and more. Avelo Air has direct flights to take Tigers fans to spring training in Lakeland. Avelo Air will take you from Grand Rapids to Lakeland directly on Thursdays and Sundays. They will take you directly from Detroit to Lakeland on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You literally land 20 minutes from the ballpark. You don't have to wait in lines. You don't have to worry about any of that other hassle. This is hassle-free travel like you deserve. Go to AveloAir.com and get $20 off a base fare round-trip flight to Lakeland when you book your trip by March 31st. All you have to do is use the code HUGE. That's HUGE on AveloAir.com. Restrictions do apply. See AveloAir.com for details today.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Save a good deal more during the Meijer Dollar Deal Sale, February 18th through March 3rd. Shop the entire store and choose from more than 800 items, all $1 each, like extra large navel oranges, Meijer frozen personal pizza, and Meijer facial tissue. And now, shopping dollar deals in our weekly ad just got easier. Click an item and add it to your cart. It's that simple. The Meijer Dollar Deal Sale and an easier way to shop our digital ad. That's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
More time together, more experience. Had a playoff series last year. I think that helped us a lot. But, just more conversations, more experience, more situations that we hadn't seen before. For a while now, teams have really tried to take away our pick and roll, so we've had to figure out ways to help our team, with that. And, we're only going to get better and better. It's still young in our relationship, I think. So it's a lot more for us to see this playoffs to help us a lot.
It's good stuff. That's Cade Cunningham. I love teams have taken away the pick and roll, so we've had to adjust. I think there's too often in basketball. Look, football, it's pretty obvious. We see plays, right? Okay, this guy's running that route. These guys are blocking this way. Quarterback's going. We see the effective coaching. Hockey, it's very difficult. I mean, how many times do you recognize Todd McClellan changing lines? Seriously. I mean, unless somebody's telling you that, right? Are you recognizing, oh, you know what he did? He moved DeBrincat to the line of fill in the blank. We don't really recognize that. In baseball, the very subtle moves. You're watching the pitcher and the batter. Are you watching them position Riley Green to a certain spot on a certain pitch? You're not, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong there. I'm just letting you know. There are the little intricate things that take place in a game in every sport that go unnoticed. In basketball, it's probably not too much different. Trent coaches basketball, so maybe he might recognize certain things, but you might recognize a zipper screen. You might recognize some type of high pick and roll. You might recognize that a player is going under the screen or over the screen. That's why Asar Thompson got benched the other night against San Antonio. So the question is, are you recognizing what they're doing when the opposition is taking away certain strengths? I'm not going to lie. I don't always recognize it.
Like, what adjustments are they making? Right. It's a hard thing in the moment to realize because you're really just paying attention to the stars and the players that you're used to watching.
Sure. And the ball.
And you get lost.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody ball watches. In
that's
football,
the average
in
fan
basketball,
for sure.
All that stuff, right? In baseball, it's the same thing. That's why you're staring at the pitcher. Answer this. How often are you watching away from the ball in basketball? How often are you watching a different position other than the quarterback when the ball is snapped in football? How many times are you watching something other than the pitcher and the batter in baseball?
Well, in football, never. I mean, that's the easiest one for me to answer because in football, it's literally just you're watching the snap and then you're watching where the ball goes. That's it.
Yeah. And when in all reality, if you watch certain positions, it'll take you to the ball. But the point is, when Cade Cunningham says that, I'm not sure how many people are recognizing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're really good in pick and roll. And yet when they take it away, what is it that they're doing? Because we think basketball, I'm generalizing here, not everybody, okay? There's a coach out there somewhere who says, that's not me. And so I don't mean to say you're included in this. But we think it's a lot of freelancing in basketball because you get a shot clock. And as you get down toward the end of the shot clock, how patient are you being? How collective can you be as a team on the floor to run a certain play? All those things. Cade Cunningham explains they're taking that pick and roll. We're adjusting to it. Love that. I'd like to know what they're doing to adjust it, but he probably talks over my head when it comes to something like that. So absolutely love that. So it's a really good soundbite. I left just before the break talking about Con Knipple, 209 threes on the year, breaks the NBA rookie record. Think about this. 12th place in a single season is 292 by Paul George. Con Knipple is on pace for 290 this year. Steph Curry has the single season record for triples made in a year. 402.
That's insane.
That is insane. Then it's James Harden with 378. Curry did that in 2016, by the way.
Okay.
Then it's James
that was the
Harden.
73-9 year, right?
Then it's James Harden at 378. Then it's Curry. He owns, of the top 6 single season 3-pointers made in a year, he owns 5 of the top 6.
Wow.
Number 7 is Anthony Edwards last year. when he made 320. Then it's Malik Beasley
Mhm.
with 319.
I remember when
last year.
Anthony Edwards passed him. It was like one of the last games of the year because I remember he was chasing him down, and they were kind of, I mean, they're ex-teammates, so they were having fun,
Right.
going back and forth about it. But
And then it's Steph Curry again at number 9. Klay Thompson at number 10.
I'm surprised.
James Harden 299. Paul George 292. I don't know how many people are paying attention to Con Knippel. He's a rookie out of Duke. He was the 4th overall pick. He played in the shadows of Cooper Flagg, but if you watched Duke a year ago, you recognize just how good they were, and that tells you another thing about Duke. I know you may hate them. They lost 2 top 5 NBA picks as freshmen, and they're ranked number 1 in the country this year. Let that settle in for a minute.
I mean, you could easily
When
make the
people
argument
talk
they're better
about-
this year than they were last year, which is crazy.
It is crazy. When people talk about, well, we didn't have this guy. What if Duke still had Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel? It's incredible. Anyway, he's on pace for 290. Kevin Durant scores a season-high 40 to lead Houston to a win over Orlando last night. He's the 6th player in history to score 32,000. So we talked earlier in the week about the Olympic team and would you want him on that team? And personally, I said no at age 40 because that would be in 2 years. It sure as hell isn't slowing him down now. He had 40 last night.
It's hard to project out that far, but
it is. You're right. It is.
But I mean, obviously, if he's going to be anywhere close to where he's at now, he's got to be on the team.
I understand why people think that. I can't help but go back to this is not the dream team. Other nations have caught up. The dream team, you could just take the best American players, no matter how they played with one another on the floor, and it doesn't matter. They were going to kick everybody's ass.
Yeah, I mean, you could have...
That is not the case any longer, okay? So I'm not saying you don't take him, but when you're putting the team together, Grant Hill or who's ever putting the team together...
There's no sympathy spots, I hear you. Yeah.
No, there has to be how the team plays together. I'll use this until the day I die, and it's Bill Guerin. Bill Guerin, the example you can use, he put together a team for Team USA in the Olympics that just won gold. They did not have the best scoring players in the world. JT Miller is not there. Jason Robertson should have been in people's eyes if that's what they wanted. You understand? Okay. He put together a team. What did Herb Brooks say in the 1980 season, or when they took that team to Lake Placid, to the Olympics? What did they say? I'm not trying to find the best players. I'm trying to find the best team. There's a huge difference. So otherwise he would have started Januzak in net. He just won back-to-back championships for him. National championships.
Well, to your point as well, Shep,
I mean, Craig in net because he was the best guy for that team. He didn't take the best players. He took the best players who would play together.
The best
and
fit.
That's what Bill Guerin did. And my hope is because other teams have gotten so much closer. I know Kevin Durant doesn't like that. I know he thinks it's some type of racist comment that there is, well, other teams around the world are starting to gain ground on the United States. And he takes that as some type of slight, which is ridiculous, okay? But there are other teams in the world that have proven with some of their players who are now among the best in the NBA, greatest league in the world, that they are gaining ground. If the United States can gain ground in hockey on Canada and Russia and Sweden and Finland, why can't other teams gain ground on the United States in basketball? I know it's our sport. We love that about this country. We do have the best players in the world. And they're not playing as a world team. All right. So I understand that too in the Olympics. They're playing for their country. There are only so many Nikola Jokic's. There are only so many Giannis Antetokounmpos, so many Luka Doncic's, thank goodness. So with that said, you understand that if they were playing together, it'd be a different story. maybe this inspires the United States even more than they would have that inspiration going into the Olympic Games.
But you don't even have to look as far as last Olympics. I mean, we saw it. It took the U.S. a huge comeback in the gold medal game and Steph Curry going off and LeBron helping out, put the team on their back a little bit. Like, the gap is not nearly what it used to be.
Wide. It was really wide. It wasn't even close with the Dream Team. And the Dream Team would beat every team you've ever assembled.
For sure.
I don't care if you take the best players in today's game or you took the best players in the 1960s season. It wouldn't matter. The Dream Team was the greatest team ever assembled, perhaps in all of sports.
Yeah, it will be forever.
There was no weak link on that team, okay?
None.
But the basketball landscape worldwide is different. And that's a good thing. And the reason it's a good thing because it shows you the impact that team, that Dream Team, and the NBA has had on the world. Roger Goodell's trying to do the same thing in the National Football League. He's trying to make sure that Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford are gaining fans around the world, not just the United States. The NBA has done that. They have made basketball a cool thing. Players are impacting young kids, not just in Houston, Texas, but they're impacting kids all around the world. So, of course, at some point, how did you not figure those kids would have such a passion for it that they want to play in the United States and that they want to be like their hero and that eventually they would become good? That's what you have to do. You have to build the best team, not the best individuals. By the way, the Tigers as a team lost to the Orioles yesterday 6-5. They remain winless on the spring. I've said this time and time again, it's not a big deal. It's spring training baseball. But at some point, there is going to be, they don't look great so far on the spring, do they? We'll see what happens with it. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question. It's a good one. Which basketball team in the state has the best chance to win a title? The Pistons, Michigan State, or other? Because both Michigan and Michigan State's women's teams are in the top 15. I think Michigan is 8 and Michigan State is 15. So they're not going to beat UConn. I don't think anybody's beating UConn. All right. Not that I'm big into women's basketball, but they are 29-0 and they are pounding everybody because they won again last night. But that's the poll question. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings, and we'll give you the results on Monday as well. Speaking of college basketball, the Michigan State win was a rock-solid win. Not because they exercised certain demons at Mackey, but because of how that team won and the fact that they are able to, do you want to say win ugly? I wouldn't say shooting 53% is winning ugly, but they were down early. They were down big early.
Yeah, and it did take a late surge to win. I mean,
so
that has to matter. I mean, the fact that we're getting closer and closer to the tournament.
They were only down like 3 at the break. It wasn't a late surge.
Yeah,
remember they took the lead. They went on this massive run to make it 13-12. So I wouldn't call it a late
I got you. I guess when the Cohen Carr windmill,
if there's somebody who didn't watch the game, saying it's a late surge means maybe they staged a late second half comeback. And I thought after they got their feet under them, I thought they played really well. I thought they worked their ass off on the boards. I thought they worked it around the perimeter enough where they weren't settling for certain jumpers. I know Tom Izzo's going to break the film down and be pissed on a lot of different things. But the mentality of Michigan State yesterday, as much as anything else, was as impressive to me as anything. The fact that they said, you know what? We're going to make this a game and see how tight Purdue can get. And they said it. I mean, Carson Cooper, who's played really well, man. He's at 15 points and 6 boards.
This 3-game stretch he's on is very, very, very impressive.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you think of Michigan State, that's not who you think of.
No.
You think of Jeremy Fears. You think of Cohen Carr. I get it.
Even Jackson Kohler before you think of Carson Cooper, probably.
Right. Jackson Kohler. Scott, as of late, right? He's been really good. But Carson Cooper's been outstanding. He said afterwards, he goes, look, this one's huge, okay? Especially on the road. Tom Izzo This is what Tom Izzo had to say. Listen to this, Tom Izzo, about going into Purdue, beating Matt Painter and this good Boilermakers team that was ranked 8th in the nation, and a guy who, when you look at Purdue, I think Robbie Hummel said it during the broadcast last night. He said Purdue right now would be a 3 seed. Michigan State would be a 4 seed. I mean, at some point, I guess we can look at those projections and take them for what they're worth, because they've got a pretty good idea. We've got a pretty good season resume of what the team is all about. But I was going to get to this. The fact that this team goes into Purdue, and we'll play the Tom Izzo sound here in a moment. This team goes into Purdue, stays together. They said that afterwards. And got better in a game. Did they get better from their last game or the game before? Not necessarily. But they got better while the game was taking place. And I know sometimes, especially me, overvalue the mental side of the game. If you can win there, you can go into Chrysler and win. If you can win there, you can go into any neutral site and win. You can go to your team, huddle them up, and say, we've won at Mackey when we were down big. Not many teams can do that. You can.
And those are the tournament type games.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to remember what you did to do that. You want to go back in time a little bit and tell them, hey, you were down 7 really early in Purdue, and that student body is right on top of you. And if you've done it there, you can do it again. And I'm sorry, I think that matters. I really do.
Well, it does. And credit to you, Shep. You've been on that for as long as I've been doing the show with you. Is like you've said Mackey's the hardest place to win in the Big Ten, period.
It is. It is. And for them to use their muscle, they scored 40 of their 76 points in the paint. For them to come back in that situation, realize and recognize what is working for them. Carson Cooper is a big reason for that, and continue to do it. And they missed a few George Blahaism's bunnies in the lane too. So it could have been better than that. I know people will dwell, if you're looking at the glass half empty, you'll dwell on the 32% shooting from the 3. I get that. But when a team recognizes it's not falling for us, let's go to our strength. That's exactly what they did. Big time win. Hear from Tom Izzo on the other side. We're brought to you this hour by Mitch Lyons Wealth. Stay with us on a Ferris Coffee Friday.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Lake Michigan Credit Union is proud to be the official sponsor of Detroit Tigers spring training. Get to the ballpark today and enjoy family fun. LMCU is providing tickets to winners who enter our Tigers Tuesday contest. Text the word Tigers to 21,000 and register for tickets today. And listen to the Huge Show to see if you're a winner. It's brought to you by our friends at LMCU. You'll love banking there.
Avelo Airlines knows you love the Tigers because they love them too. It's why they have direct flights to Lakeland, Florida out of both Grand Rapids and Detroit. Thursdays and Sundays are nonstop out of GR, and Wednesdays and Saturdays are nonstop out of Detroit. So wherever you are in Michigan, you can get down to spring training to watch your Tigers. With everyday low fares, reliable service, you do not want to fly any other way. Head to AveloAir.com to book your trip now. That's AVELO air.com and use code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare if you book before March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute, and you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
we put ourselves in a position where now we have a measuring stick to say, this is what you can do when you prepare well. This is what you can do when the walkthrough in the hotel was good. Film sessions are good. And you played with some passion, some toughness, and some togetherness. And that's what's going to move us forward. We're not as talented as some teams you've seen us have over the years. But we are, I said, for 2 years, I've been the luckiest guy in America. We're together and connected.
That's a beautiful quote. It really is. The only thing I would say to him about I question the word passion. I think they've played with passion this year. Doesn't always mean you win. It's togetherness as much as anything else. They were a smart team last night. That's Tom Izzo after his team wins at Purdue. It's a really good win. You could argue it's one of their best, if not the best wins of the season. I don't know what you would consider that. They've got 23 of them, okay? Some would say Kentucky. Kentucky fell off a little bit. That was a neutral site game. Some may say North Carolina because that was a pretty decisive win. I get it. I believe that, too, was a neutral site game. It was in Fort Myers. This is going into the Lions' Den. And with all due respect to Northwestern, it's not like you're going into Northwestern. You're not going into Rutgers. I know some people think the Rack is a really intimidating place. No, not good, not compared to Mackey, okay? I think you could make the argument that it's their best win on their schedule.
It's one of the best wins in college hoops this season. It really is. You think about it. I mean, Purdue, they're going to be a one seed in the tournament, I would think, right? So to go to their building and win, that's.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to get too hyperbolic about that. I haven't researched enough.
And that's what I mean. I'm not going to say number one.
Michigan went in there and beat them like a drum.
Yeah, they did.
So I'm not sure about that. But I'm talking strictly about Michigan State's schedule. I would argue Duke going into Michigan State, into Breslin Center, is a pretty damn good win. Wouldn't you?
Yes, okay. For sure.
I would say Texas Tech going into Arizona and beating the Wildcats is a pretty good win.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I mean, you could even go as deep as like Creighton over UConn. There's been a lot of good wins, especially in the last month or so. But I guess my point here, Shep, is I think Michigan created those expectations to where it's not surprising for them to beat anybody, whereas Michigan State was literally a 7.5-point dog yesterday, went into Mackey and won, place they haven't won in over a decade. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah,
it's no slight to any other team. It's just I think that's...
I know I didn't take it as a slight to any other team. I don't know if I'm going so far as to say it's one of the best wins in the country this year. I mean, hell, Purdue goes into Alabama and wins. And Alabama, I think, was 8th at the time. But that was early in the season. I mean, I got you. Nitpick. Like I said, I looked at it strictly from an MSU standpoint. I think it's MSU's best win in the year, and I say that because it is truly a road win. You're going to a neutral site, and you know how I feel about home court, home ice, home field, all that stuff. I take it with a little bit of grain of salt, but there are certain places where you win at Lambeau, you win in Seattle. You win in Kansas City in the NFL, those are impressive wins, okay? You win at Mackey, you win at Fog Allen, you win at Duke, those are impressive wins. It's different winning there than it is in a lot of other places. We're not going to Bradley here for a tough win in that conference. So I like what they did. I like how they stayed together, but I love their comeback. And I think that's a really good soundbite from Tom Izzo. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday from 6 until 9. There is there's some frustration from the National Football League. I would dare say frustration is probably the wrong word. They're mad. Okay, can I say pissed? I just did. They're pissed at the NFLPA. All right, they sent a letter. Their chief counsel sent a letter yesterday to the NFLPA. And here's what they said. We understand that the Players Association posted its team report cards, in quote, on its players-only website today. And we are aware that the media is reporting some of the purported results. As we previously advised, the admissions made by the union and its counsel during the grievance hearing, including that report cards are union speech. The union cherry picks which topics and responds to include and exclude, and players have no role in drafting the report cards commentary. Given these significant admitted limitations, we continue to recommend that clubs prioritize feedback and information provided directly by their own players rather than relying on the NFLPA's agenda-driven exercise. In other words, take these reports with a grain of salt. They are all over social media. Every single person who writes for or about a team has posted where their GM ranks, where their team ranks, where their team owner ranks, and where their head coach ranks. Let's dive into that, and we will do that here. Let me get to a quick text, our first text on this Ferris Coffee Friday. No surprise that it comes from our friend Freddie the Pizza Man.
Right on time.
He says, I really think Dylan Larkin has become the face of this town. From a guy who has gotten down on him because the team is not won in years, he is the new face. Okay, great question. Great question. It was easy in the past. Steve Eisman was the face. Nick Lidstrom was the face. Barry Sanders was the face of this town. Isaiah Thomas was the face of this town. Who's the face of Detroit now?
See, I don't even hesitate. I think it's Dan Campbell.
Really?
Yes, because I think that's the team that is cared about most, is talked about most. I think if all things were equal, it'd be Cade Cunningham because he's an MVP caliber player. But that's team.
Where I thought you were going.
That's team number 4 in the city right now, right? Wouldn't you agree?
No.
Honestly, I think
honestly,
there's.
I think it's team number 1 in the city right now.
Well, I just mean as far as like people paying attention.
Yeah,
just by
nature.
What I'm talking about. Okay. I disagree, but
yeah, I mean it is everywhere because people feel like it's a championship caliber team. As much as I love the Red Wings and as much as I enjoyed watching last night, I can't think of anybody who believes this team is a Stanley Cup contender. As much as you may like the Tigers, if you're thinking logically, you recognize right now anyway, they're not as good as Seattle. They're not as good as Toronto. They're probably not as good as the Yankees.
Okay, so then how do you see the Lions through that lens?
Disappointing.
Disappointing for sure, but they still won 9 games, and I think most people still expect that window, that that term is still open. So that's why I say Dan Campbell.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question. The question is who are most people talking about and who's the hottest team? It's the Pistons because they view them as a championship contender. The Lions they view as a disappointing team, a team that hasn't done what it needed to do at the trade deadline in each of the last 2 years, and a team that has a lot of holes on it.
Okay, that's fair. So would you refute
now in Detroit?
Would you refute Freddie's text by saying Cade Cunningham then? Is that where you're going?
That's where I thought you were going. I was going to say either Cade Cunningham or Tarek Skubal. Because it doesn't have anything to do with how good the team is. It has to do with how good the player is. When you win back-to-back Cy Youngs and when you win a Triple Crown, you are in Verlander era. And I think it's fair to say back in the day, Justin Verlander was the face of Detroit sports.
No question.
Okay. So Skubal is part of that. Cade Cunningham will finish higher than any other Piston in history in the MVP voting. I'm guessing here that people aren't as stupid as some of the people who pick Hall of Fame votes in baseball, for example. Okay? So that's the guess. Larkin is the face of the Red Wings. Not that he wasn't already as the captain, but he is solidifying himself as one of the better Red Wings in the franchise's history. He's not Steve Yzerman. He's not Sergei Fedorov. He's not Gordie Howe or Ted Lindsay or Alex Del Vecchio. We could go on and on. He's not like Nick Lidstrom. All right. But
it is fair to say one of, yes.
He's being seen as one of the best soldiers this franchise has ever had because he's had to endure some absolute crap. And yet he has stayed driven, stayed consistent, and stayed a very strong leader. I think everybody's happy for him. And that's a hard thing sometimes. You're happy for him because of all that he's gone through, because of how he's produced, because of how he's represented your franchise and your city, and now he's reaping some rewards. But that's a really interesting debate. Freddie said Goff's stock has not grown since the Commanders game. I think that's fair. St. Brown went after the fans. That pisses some of them off. Cade still has to win a home playoff game. I know so does Larkin.
He makes a compelling argument. I mean,
he does. He makes a very
that makes
why I'm
sense.
reading it. He's got more that we'll get to, and we'll get to some of your texts or comments on our YouTube channel if you're watching via the stream here on X's and Bros. And this hour is brought to you by Meijer.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Avelo Air knows how much you love the Tigers. They love them too. They want to help you get to spring training in Lakeland because it is an awesome time. They fly nonstop from Grand Rapids to Lakeland Thursdays and Sundays, and nonstop from Detroit to Lakeland Wednesdays and Saturdays. Everyday low fares and reliable service. You don't want to fly anywhere else. Book your trip to Lakeland on AveloAir.com and use the promo code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare when you book by March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
18 after the hour. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thanks for being with us. Always appreciate you taking some of your time on a Ferris Coffee Friday. You've got a lot of choices out there. We get it. So we always want to make sure we get your thoughts included as quickly as possible. Let me finish this text from Freddie. And by the way, the huge show later on today, 3 until 6 on these same great stations. He said Tarek Skubal left after 6 and decided to just play one game in the baseball classic. He is starting to be viewed weak and only about money. Ooh. That's a pretty powerful statement there, man. I don't think he's there yet.
Do you think it carries any weight? Because I kind of do. I get where he's coming from. I wouldn't go that far.
Which part of it are you talking about?
That he's starting to get viewed as weak. And I don't know how much of that too, Shep. I mean, we've talked about this, how baseball's just different now in the way guys are managed.
Yeah, I gotta lose the mindset that everybody's got to be Mickey Loach, Bob Gibson, Denny McClain.
Yeah, it's just not a thing anymore.
Okay.
Like, guys don't pitch.
It's not how it is. Just don't start comparing. But weak is a pretty nasty word.
It's almost like
in
soft
in sports. Yeah, you got to be careful there. I think they view him as just another pitcher, and that's not who we want him to be. We want him to be a throwback, and he's not. Many people will say, I want him to be a throwback of Justin Verlander. Hold on a second. And I like Justin Verlander. He's a Hall of Famer. Okay? He's the best right-handed pitcher the Tigers organization has ever had, arguably. Okay? Not for a season. That's Denny McClain. But maybe in a career, Jack Morris. It's one of those two guys. That said, Verlander has 26 complete games in his career. So let's not go overboard. But that's what people want Skubal to be. They want him to go deeper in games. How much is on him? How much is on his manager? I don't know the answer to that.
We'll probably never know. Yeah.
Okay. But we want to see somebody who wants to fight for it. If you and I get pissed sometimes that you don't see that type of emotion from a defensive end in this town during a game, how come we don't see it unless he strikes out the side?
I always think of Blake Snell in the 2020 World Series. Or maybe it was 19. Was it 20 or 9? I don't know. Either way. But you remember when Kevin Cash took him out and he was furious.
Sure. You want to see your pitcher in the dugout arguing with his manager and or his pitching coach. You're not taking me out. That's what you want to see in a playoff game. In that type of game, that's what you want to see. And you haven't seen it. So I get but to say he's weak is really difficult. The World Baseball Classic, that's an interesting point because I don't know how many people care. It's not your team. How important is the World Baseball Classic? How many people are watching? I am. I think it's important. I love it. I don't know how many others do. So this may be strictly his viewpoint. And lastly, he says Steve Eisman must go get guys now to get Larkin a cup in this town. Larkin speaking up last year was a boss move. I don't disagree with that. I would prefer you air that in private. But somebody asked him a question, and he answered the question. You don't have to get a cup now. I don't know what you could. I don't know what you could obtain to get a cup now. I think you need too much to get a cup right now. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Could you make a deeper playoff run? And then who knows? Because John Gibson's played so well. Yeah. Yeah, I think you could.
But if the question is, are you a move away from a cup? Your answer is no.
No. You're multiple moves away. If you got Rob Thomas, that'd be a big deal. He's the number one center for St. Louis. Well, St. Louis isn't great. But that'd be a big pickup. He's a good player. He's young. He's under contract. That'd be a really good pickup for Steve Eisman. I know a lot of people don't know much about Rob Thomas, but he'd be a good player. All right, let me get to a comment from YouTube. Go ahead.
Yes, you can always comment on our YouTube stream, X's and Bros. Look it up. This one says Purdue literally has no big man in the middle, and it's really hard. It's not really hard to score in the paint on them. Won't matter. Big Brother will sweep MSU. It's obvious who you root for. For me, I'll say that for sure.
I don't understand where that comes from, quite honestly.
They're trying to downplay the win. They're saying Purdue's soft in the middle.
But them saying it's obvious who you root for. I don't understand that.
They could be shooting at me there. I don't think that's at you.
I don't think so. I think it is at me. And that's okay. I root for both teams. They do have a guy who's averaging 10-7, 10-8, who's 6'11", 255 pounds, Oscar Clough, who does oftentimes alter people's thoughts of going inside, may not alter a bunch of shots.
He's a nice player.
Trey Kaufman-Wren is, close to 6'10", from what I can recall. I don't know. I mean, they bring a guy off the bench who's 7'4". I didn't see him last night. He's not a huge. I don't know, man. I mean, the way it is in college basketball is different than the NBA. And so I think, when you're playing zone, I don't think Purdue is strictly a man-to-man team. Not that I recognized last night anyway. So maybe it's not. All I'm saying is that it's an impressive win. You must not listen very often. We talk up Michigan a lot too. Michigan's going to be a 1 seed without question. They should be playing in Chicago. They have a legitimate chance at winning a national championship.
There's no question who the better team is right now.
They won the other night against Minnesota without Lendenborg taking more than 3 shots, for crying out loud.
Wow.
I have talked about how deep they are, how long they are, how big they are, and how defensively they're underrated. Now, if you want me to use every show, an hour from a show every single day of the week to talk about them, perhaps you can make that comment. It's obviously who you root for. I have no skin in either game. Okay. I used to, because I called Michigan basketball for 15 years, but I don't now. I like them both.
Okay. For the record,
I have always, and I mean this sincerely, I have always respected both and respected, even when I was calling Michigan basketball, respected the hell out of MSU.
For the record, they just followed up in real time. They said it was a shot at me, not you. So,
it's a shot at you,
which I'm fine with.
But in fairness, I mean, Trent went to Michigan State, so he's going to do that. My hope is that at some point he would be able to separate the two. And he just said it's obvious who the better team is right now. Good.
Yeah,
it should be obvious. And you know what? If it's not obvious to you and you go the other way, it shows you're not very smart. You're not. You can't help it. As of right now, how do you say that one team that is better than the team that is ranked 3rd in the country beat you at your barn and has reeled off, as many wins as they had, 11 in a row until they lost at Duke in a neutral site, and that was a pretty damn good game.
Yeah, I mean, if you were really grasping at straws, you'd mention that. You'd say they lost to Duke, but whatever. To me, that holds nothing. Michigan is by far the better team right now, actually.
And if you argued that, then the person who said that would go back and say, yeah, but so did you. And you lost in your place.
By one more point.
To them. Yeah. So, and the point differential to me doesn't really matter. It's how you play the game.
If you're splitting hairs, yeah.
There's no question that Michigan, you could make the argument, Michigan's still the best team in the country. Okay? They are. I mean, they're as good as any team in the country. I think Duke is, not just because they're number 1. I said it going into the game against Michigan. But we have not disparaged U of M by any stretch, except for Trent's heel on Monday, where he didn't like what Lendenborg said.
I just didn't like how he handled the post game. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It's not a big deal.
It's a mild.
I don't think it's going to hinder them.
All right, so that was the comment on YouTube. We appreciate that as always. Please feed us. We love that stuff. How about a text before we get to a guest at 7:35? We're going to talk to Orlando play-by-play voice Jake Chapman coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly. This one says, Pistons aren't number 1 in the city. Fans like the Lions, Tigers, and Red Wings more than the Pistons.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's a fair debate. I say the Pistons right now because the Tigers haven't gotten rolling yet. I don't believe most think the Red Wings are a Stanley Cup contender, and I think they're pissed off at the Lions. Now, if you're talking about the emotional side of things, I agree. If you're talking about how many people are going to be at a parade, I agree. If the Lions were to win a Super Bowl, by far there would be more people at the parade. That's not what we're discussing right now. What we're talking about, who's hot? Who are people talking about? Who do people believe in? And I think most people believe the Detroit Pistons because they hear the national media talking about who the best team in basketball is. The Pistons are in that conversation. They're not saying that about the Tigers. They're not saying about that about the Lions, and they're not saying that about the Red Wings.
Well, and it's nice
where it
because
comes
usually this time of year, people are talking about the NFL Combine and who the Lions are going to draft, and it's nice to have like a change of pace. Like the Pistons are getting discussed. To your point.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while. All right, when we come back, Jake Chapman joins us. He of the Orlando Magic. He's their play-by-play voice, and we'll talk with him right after this on X's and Bros, and we're brought to you by Meijer.
Save a good deal more during the Meijer Dollar Deal Sale, February 18th through March 3rd. Shop the entire store and choose from more than 800 items, all $1 each, like extra large navel oranges, Meijer frozen personal pizza, and Meijer facial tissue. And now, shopping dollar deals in our weekly ad just got easier. Click an item and add it to your cart. It's that simple. The Meijer Dollar Deal Sale and an easier way to shop our digital ad. That's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Lake Michigan Credit Union is proud to be the official sponsor of Detroit Tigers spring training. Get to the ballpark today and enjoy family fun. LMCU is providing tickets to winners who enter our Tigers Tuesday contest. Text the word Tigers to 21,000 and register for tickets today. And listen to the Huge Show to see if you're a winner. It's brought to you by our friends at LMCU. You'll love banking there.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
35 after the hour. Welcome back on a Ferris Coffee Friday. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Meyer. Pistons with a game against Cleveland tonight at home. Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell. And then Sunday they're in Orlando to take on the Magic. Who wouldn't want to go to Orlando? Who wouldn't want to be in Florida right now, especially when it's 20 degrees outside? Jake Chapman does a great job of calling Orlando Magic basketball. His team 4 games above the break even. Right now, the 7th seed in the East, and he joins us here on X's and Bros. Jake, we appreciate it as always. Keep up the great work. Why has your team been able to play a little bit better as of late, do you think? What's been the key?
Well, a combination of things. You're getting some pretty good contributions from some new additions and some new additions to the rotation. Mo Wagner has come back and it's given you a nice lift off the bench. Javon Carter, who Piston fans should be familiar with from his time in Chicago, has sort of stabilized your bench rotation. He's been a good ball defender and as a point guard, just kind of getting you organized as far as the second unit goes. And then Paolo Banchero in the middle of everything has been playing much better basketball, much more efficient basketball the last couple of weeks. And Desmond Bain has maybe been the hottest shooter in the league. So going back to last year, Matt, you remember, I mean, it's been a very frustrating perimeter shooting team. And with Franz Wagner, when he's healthy, and Paolo Banchero, you got 2 guys who can attack the rack, who can collapse defenses, but you just haven't had good spacing around them. Desmond Bain has provided that. The 3 ball has been falling with regularity for about a month now. So the offense is picking up. The defense has actually slipped a little bit this year, but part of that is the injury issue. You just haven't been able to get all your guys on the floor together really since the first 5 or 6 games of the season. Paolo Banchero had an injury, Franz Wagner, a very serious high ankle sprain he's been dealing with for 3 months now, and then Jalen Suggs has been in and out. So that stability and that consistency has been sort of elusive, but it feels like things are trending in the right direction.
I remember before the offseason, Orlando was a very niche pick for many people to challenge in the Eastern Conference because of some of the additions and because of the maturity of the team. You mentioned about the injuries, so I get that. But overall, what's been the feeling? Has it been one of disappointment and underachievement, or has it been one of understanding because of the injury situations that you've faced all season long?
No, because of those expectations you talked about, Matt. I mean, people expected it to be better. You're 4 games clear of 500 right now. But the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, if you finish there and you're in the play-in tournament for a second straight year, that will be a disappointment. And injuries, I think people understand. And again, it's been a rash, and that goes back 2 years now. You just haven't really had your best 2 or 3 players, or you can even include Desmond Bain now in the mix, your best 4 players on the floor together for any consistent amount of time. So I think people understand that. But with all of that said, it's not like all 4 of them have been out at the same time. You still have some pretty good pieces there. And, when a team is expected to win 50 games, and you're sitting at this point of the season in the 7th seed, certainly there are questions to be asked. There's been slippage. I think there's questions to be asked about the construction of the roster. If you end up without advancing past the first round of the postseason this year, then I do think there's some big 30,000 feet type questions that need to be answered. But again, there's that grain of salt that, you just don't know exactly what it would look like if you had everybody healthy for 30 or 40 straight games, because that hadn't happened.
We're talking with Jake Chapman. He's the play-by-play voice for the Orlando Magic. You can follow him on Twitter at Jake Chapman OM for Orlando Magic here on X's and Bros. This is the 3rd meeting of the year between these 2 franchises on Sunday. And you've got a win under your belt by 3. You've got a loss by 19. How do you stack up against the Pistons in general, do you think?
It's a good question, because both of those games were towards the beginning of the season. I think the second one was Thanksgiving week, or the week before Thanksgiving. And that was a war. And both games have been very physical games. The first one early on in the year, that second week, the Pistons just pulled away in the second half. Cade Cunningham was amazing. He's been amazing all year. That second game felt like a playoff type atmosphere, and you usually don't get those before New Year's in the NBA. And so I fully expect Sunday to have that feel. Look, the Pistons have taken on JB Bickerstaff's personality and kind of vice versa. And there's such an awesome story. I mean, you know me, Matt. Like I've been there. I've seen I've seen what it can be like, for like small doses when Piston fans are engaged and when the team is giving them something to be proud of. And I've just been watching from afar this year and really enjoying the success for both the people within and without the organization. It's a really good story. With that said, I think we're one of the few teams that can go toe-to-toe physically with Detroit, especially if you want to talk about, getting into the spring in a 7-game series. The Pistons are going to beat up a lot of teams, and that is probably the reason that you would feel comfortable picking them, even though they haven't been there yet, to advance deep into the Eastern Conference playoffs. We're a team that has the size, I think, to not be intimidated by Durant and by Beef Stew on the front line, and then potentially the size defensively and the makeup defensively to slow down Cade Cunningham, or at least to slow him up a little bit. So I think I think we stack up pretty well as far as the physicality goes. I think with the way that Detroit's playing right now, they're the favorite in just about every game that they play. It'll be interesting to see tonight against the Cleveland team that seemed like they were riding high after the trade deadline, and now coming back down to earth a little bit. If that's a game that, sort of catches the Pistons' attention, and then maybe you get a bit of a letdown on Sunday. But I think I think we're set up for a pretty damn good basketball game on Sunday. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. I respect that team an awful lot. I think Pella Banchero is a hell of a player. When people start talking about the Olympic team in 2028, his name as a Seattle, Washington native is not very prevalent. How do you think he takes something like that?
No, that's a good question. He keeps everything very close to the vest. He is not outwardly emotional at all, but he also has a very high level of expectation for himself. So, and I know that his experience he's had thus far with Team USA is something that he treasured and valued, and that is something that gets him talking and then gets him lighting up a little bit. So I'm sure a combination of that, kind of a frustrating year just as far as some of the efficiency stuff goes. I'm sure he's frustrated with the lack of consistency around him at times, as anybody would be. So I think all of that is probably stacking up. He has seemed post All-Star break these last 2 seasons now like a new man, or at the very least like a man on a mission. And I think part of that has to do with being snubbed by the All-Star team both years. But I'm sure all of those perceived slights and what would be material slights, if it comes to fruition, where he won't be selected, or where he is not eventually selected for that 2028 team, that'll be something that sticks in his craw, to be sure.
How do you feel about the Pistons?
Well, that's a loaded question. You mean just as far as their ability to make a deep run this year?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of people believe that you have to have playoff series or playoff wins under your belt. I've never felt like sports is linear. I don't think you go from making the first round to the second round of the Eastern Conference Finals and then to the finals, because people are talking about San Antonio like they're a legitimate threat. Why couldn't the Pistons be a legitimate threat? So how do you feel about their chances going deep into the NBA postseason?
Well, a couple things. First off, I saw, somebody said the Pistons. Somebody said on Twitter, and of course these are Twitter conversations, but somebody said the Pistons are frauds. They'll be out in the second round. And then somebody replied and said, "You mean like the Thunder 2 years ago when they were the top seed in the Western Conference and got bounced in the second round, and then the next year they won a title?" So even if that happens, I don't think, it's a great point that progress is not always linear. And whatever happens, this is already significant progress. They're 43-14 right now, for crying out loud, after years and years of really, really, really disappointing bad basketball. The one thing I'll say is this. I think the fatal flaw may be combustibility. There are times where, I go back to JB and the attitude of the team, and sort of, it feels like at some point JB is the spark and the players are the gas, and then sometimes he's the gas and they're the spark. But it always feels like a fire's getting ready to burn. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that is really, really good in the regular season. In a 2-week playoff series against the Knicks or against Boston or somebody who can use that against you, then I think that if there's anything I don't like about them, it's that. I think they need to make sure that they keep their emotions in check, and that can be really difficult when you're playing the same guys 7 straight times. And so to me, that's the only thing that I would worry about. But as far as everything else goes, I mean, Cade Cunningham is an MVP candidate. You've got young talent on the front line. You've got some vets who have been there before that I think you can draw on their experience, guys like Tobias, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it feels like that maybe that's a year early, but I also look at this ain't the Eastern Conference in 2017 when the Cavs were rolling through it. It is wide open this year. So I see no reason the Pistons can't be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And, you know, if you get that far, if you advance 2 rounds, then you're a championship contender. So I don't expect them to be out in the first round. I think they have a long playoff run in front of them. I don't know if that necessarily means that they will be playing in the NBA Finals, but any talk about just because they're a year early, I don't think necessarily means that that you shorten their odds in the postseason at all, because the Eastern Conference just doesn't have a dominant team right now.
Who's the best team you've seen play?
Oklahoma still. The only reason that Oklahoma isn't, the odds-on favorite, I think, and they are, but the only thing that you doubt about Oklahoma is can they play 2 straight years of that much basketball? I mean, they went all the way to Game 7 into the second half of the NBA Finals against Indiana, and so that is a whole lot of high-level basketball that you're packing into when all is said and done a calendar year. But with that said, I think, Oklahoma and San Antonio are the class of the league, and you can see it each time they play each other. In the Eastern Conference, I think the team who has the best fastball is New York, but I hesitate even to say that because they have consistency problems that you saw coming out of the NBA Cup and in the month of January. They just have sort of stretches where they wane. So I think the Eastern Conference is the Pistons to lose, and I think the championship is probably either Oklahoma's or San Antonio's to lose.
Who do you think is Rookie of the Year? Because Con Knippel made 8 threes last night and now set a single-season rookie record with 209, and he's on pace for 290, and we all know what Cooper Flagg's doing in Dallas.
Yeah, and, boy, Charlotte is a really good story, and so I think, sometimes I look at those 3-point numbers and I'm like, okay, so he beat Keegan Murray's record. Like,
right, exactly.
Worthy of record, especially with where the league is now.
That's so funny.
Because he's so good. I mean, Knippel has been awesome, and he is a big reason that Charlotte, that Charlotte is where they are. I mean, I want to talk about reversing the fortunes of a franchise. He's played a huge role in that. As long as Flagg is eligible, and I think he will be. He's played 49 games, he'll be fine. I think it's his to lose, even though that team is not very good and probably won't win very many games the rest of the way. He just looks like a franchise centerpiece. He's delivered on all of the hype, and I think voters take all of that into account. Knippel's a great story, but Flagg's the real deal also, and I think there's probably some confirmation bias that'll play in as well.
You know us here in Detroit, we're very protective of our athletes, sometimes overprotective. I would say a lot of times overprotective. Cade Cunningham is viewed as probably the 3rd best odds behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Do you think Cunningham's the MVP of the league if you were to vote right now?
No, my vote would still go to Jokic because of some of the efficiency numbers. I mean, it's probably, and it's boring because you could probably give it to him every year, and he might not make the game's threshold. He's played 43 games. I think he can miss like 2 or 3 more, and so that could be a huge development there. And I know Shai is on the edge as well. But I think Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown might have a say before all is said and done. It's going to be a really, really tight MVP race. I think Cade Cunningham is such a great argument. I think when you do the take him off the team and what happens argument, then he may have the best one. I guess probably, I don't know, those other guys have pretty good arguments as well. That's what the MVP is. He may be a year away. It always seems to work, right? Like, give us 2 straight MVP years and you'll win it on the second year. Hopefully it's not a thing this year where, the votes end up getting split and you end up with sort of an unsatisfying MVP, but there are a couple of good candidates. I just looked at what Jokic is doing, and to be leading the league in assists and rebounds, And the way that he scores, the efficiency with which he does it, he's shooting over 41% from three-point range and just under 58% from the field. I mean, everything the guy does is golden. And his defense has improved as well. He's up over a steal a game. So I think probably my vote would go to Jokic as long as he met that 65-game threshold, but it would be tight.
Yeah, you mentioned another name that I have been on for a while, and that's Jaylen Brown. I don't think enough is being talked about when it comes to Jaylen Brown, how he has held that team together and been the guy, and doesn't get to the free throw line a lot. He's just scoring the basketball. Congratulations on the success, man. We appreciate it very much. Keep up the great work. We hope we can talk again soon.
You got it, Chad. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Jake Chapman joining us from Orlando, the play-by-play voice of the Orlando Magic. Pistons will play them on Sunday. They get Cleveland tonight. There was a former Floridian world champion who said something about the Pistons. We'll get to that when we come back. 8:35, Lindsey Hunter. A lot of basketball discussion coming up as well. We welcome your texts, Sports Radio 21,000. We welcome your phone calls on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. And we also welcome on this Ferris Coffee Friday anything you might have to say in the chat regarding what we do on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Facebook. This is X's and Bros. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer. We welcome all kinds of feedback for you. Don't forget, it is the Huge Show a little bit later on. He is at the Combine in Indianapolis. And speaking of the Combine, at 8:18, we will dive into the grades for general managers and coaches and organizations. Where do you think Dan Campbell finished? Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions in general. We'll get to all that and more coming up in the final hour of X's and Bros. Lindsey Hunter from the Crossover Podcast joins us 8:35 here on the Michigan Sports Network.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
Lake Michigan Credit Union is proud to be the presenting sponsor of your Detroit Tigers 2026 spring training. Get out to the ballpark this year and enjoy some family-friendly fun. LMCU. You'll love banking there. We know who the starters are going to be for the Tigers this year. Let's take a look at what the bullpen might look like on opening day. The givens are Finnegan, Best, Jansen, Holton, and Drew Anderson. But there's going to be quite a battle for the other three spots. Cater Montero is so good out of the bullpen in the postseason, it's hard to see him not making the opening day roster. The Tigers need a second lefty. Grant Herter probably fills that role, but keep an eye on Sean Gunther. He's coming back from injury. He was really good in 2024. The Tigers love Brennan Hannafy and his heavy sinker. He has to show he can get out lefties this spring. And then there's Bo Brisky. Last year lost to injury. He's healthy now. He has an electric arm. He could help make this bullpen one of the deepest and most talented the Tigers have had in years.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Hey, when you travel, you want low fares, you want reliable service, and you want a direct flight. Avelo Air gives you all of that and more. Avelo Air has direct flights to take Tigers fans to spring training in Lakeland. Avelo Air will take you from Grand Rapids to Lakeland directly on Thursdays and Sundays. They will take you directly from Detroit to Lakeland on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You literally land 20 minutes from the ballpark. You don't have to wait in lines. You don't have to worry about any of that other hassle. This is hassle-free travel like you deserve. Go to aveloair.com and get $20 off a base fare round-trip flight to Lakeland when you book your trip by March 31st. All you have to do is use the code HUGE. That's HUGE on aveloair.com. Restrictions do apply. See aveloair.com for details today.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Lake Michigan Credit Union is proud to be the official sponsor of Detroit Tigers spring training. Get to the ballpark today and enjoy family fun. LMCU is providing tickets to winners who enter our Tigers Tuesday contest. Text the word Tigers to 21,000 and register for tickets today. And listen to The Huge Show to see if you're a winner. It's brought to you by our friends at LMCU. You'll love banking there.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Final hour of the program on this Ferris Coffee Friday. We're brought to you this hour by Avelo Airlines. Go to AveloAir.com and book your flight. It's a direct flight, Grand Rapids to Lakeland, Detroit to Lakeland. You're going to save some money, too. It is clean, it is easy, and it drops you off 20 minutes from Joker Marchant Stadium. There is no better way to travel than Avelo Airlines. Go to AveloAir.com. Well, we were just done talking with Jake Chapman, the play-by-play voice of the Orlando Magic, who will entertain the Pistons on Sunday, and asked him who's the best team you've seen. He said Oklahoma City. San Antonio's in that conversation. Well, the Pistons, the best team in the East. Now, he says fastball with New York, which made me cringe just a little bit. If we had more time, I would have gone deeper into that. It's I am not seeing it. Other people are. Maybe I'm the one who's missing it. I'm not so self-indulged to think that I know all, but I'm having a hard time finding the love affair with the Knicks right now. I don't get it. I think Cleveland, when healthy, is better. Mitchell's out for tonight. Harden is out for tonight. Detroit gets a bit of a break there. They do. They got a break against Oklahoma. It's okay to admit this. It doesn't mean that Detroit's worse. I'm just saying, when you're going to be without Donovan Mitchell, I would say Cleveland's best player. When you're going to be without a guy like James Harden, their second best scorer, he's averaging 19 points per game for them, then I think it's okay to say that you're getting a bit of a break. Now, they still have Evan Mobley. They still have Jared Allen. It's not like they're not a formidable opponent. They are. But you're getting a break by missing two of their best scorers, two of their two best scorers. Okay? And you got a break against Oklahoma City. You take advantage of it. This is the way it works. Teams couldn't take advantage of it when Detroit was without Duren and Stewart. Or maybe they did take advantage of it when they didn't have Stewart. That's fine. I'm not holding it against you. You got to win, right? I'm not seeing it with New York. I see Boston 38-20. I see Cleveland when healthy. And of course, we see the Pistons. I don't get it when it comes to New York Knicks. But that's Jake's opinion. Dwayne Wade, who's won championships, has got a pretty good pulse on what's going on. He sees the Pistons as a legitimate threat. This is what he said on a podcast recently. Go ahead.
As I sit here right now today, I'm going to go with two teams that probably should be ready, maybe 27 and 28. But I think, you know what? Let's give them a chance. I think the Pistons and the Spurs in New York without Durant and without Stewart, and I didn't see them miss a beat. And I was like, oh, this team is deep. And this team they know their style, they know their game, they know how they win. That's tough. When the team ain't got to figure it out right now, they just building that cadence even more. They building that confidence together even more, and they can go this many deep. That's scary.
That's a Hall of Famer who isn't so far removed from the game where he can't recognize who's legit and who's not.
What do you think about him implying that the Pistons are early?
Yeah. I think I thought you were going to go there. And that's the first thing that jumped to my mind. Like they should be 27, 28. I don't know why we put years on teams and players. This guy shouldn't be this good this year. Why not? Maybe it's because it's a team in general. And I truly believe it's because they feel like there's a learning curve. Look, if I don't buy into it, I have to prove on why I don't. Other people can make that generic statement because I think for the most part, it's been proven right that you have to take steps. I just think there's a lot of examples that you can prove that those steps aren't linear. That's all. Just because you made the playoffs one year doesn't mean you're automatically going to make it the next year. Just because you won a playoff series one year doesn't mean you're going to automatically win a 2 playoff series the next year. I think that's common sense. I don't take any of that stuff for granted. I just think there are certain teams and certain players who get it. And he made a point about it. They didn't miss a beat without Duren or Stewart. You know why? They know who they are. They know how they have to play to be successful. And that's what they've done. If everything is about, well, that learning experience was a big deal, well, then, I guess we can expect the Tigers to make the American League Championship Series this year. Since, wait a minute. Sorry. They've lost in the second round in each of the last 2 years. Lost to Cleveland, lost to Seattle. I'm just not buying that. If the Pistons learned from their experience last year and they didn't win a playoff series, why do we think those lessons learned are limited to just one playoff series this year or 2 playoff series this year? Did Cleveland learn so much after winning 64 games a year ago? Did they learn so much that they're bound to go deeper this year? Not if they ain't healthy. Is Boston's experience with certain guys on that team, whether it be Derek White or Jaylen Brown or whomever, is that experience trump what Detroit experienced a year ago and what they've gone through this year? Like, I know playoff basketball is different. I get it. I'm just saying, is it that much different where we hold a team back? And like Jake said moments ago, look, like Oklahoma City, we're putting guardrails on teams and players in general. I'm not just talking about the Pistons. I'm not just talking about the NBA. We're putting guardrails on teams in general because we don't feel they're quote unquote ready. They're too young. There's a lot of young teams out there in various sports who have taken advantage of being really good. I want my team to have talent, and I want my team to play together. The Pistons have done that. It is interesting. Nobody said that about, for example, the Fab Five of Michigan. Oh, my God. And yet that freshman team went to the national championship game. They didn't win it. Did everybody think, like, well, the next year they're definitely going to win it? How did that experience help them? How did the lack of experience not benefit them? I don't believe in putting that stuff on people. Some guys are just really good. Some guys get it together and understand and play the way they're supposed to have success. And I'm not putting a guardrail on this Pistons team right now because I think they are good enough to win in the East. Are they getting some good fortune by no Jason Tatum, by James Harden getting hurt, by the Indiana Pacers not having their team from a year ago when they represented these? You bet they are. They're not the first team to take advantage of that. When we come back, NFL report cards. How'd the Lions do? How did Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Sheila do? We'll find out after this.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious Cosmic Crisp apples, money saved. Meijer Essential Paper Towels, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan. Now they continue to grow. They got their worldwide headquarters in Troy, Michigan on the east side of the state. They are worldwide. They are the leaders. when it comes to accounting, CPA, and business needs. Simple and easy. Just Google Dorn Mayhew. And also, Josh Garvey joins me every Tuesday as we talk hoops with former Michigan and Cleveland Cavaliers head coach John Beilein. Tuesdays, 5 p.m., Josh Garvey, Coach Beilein, and myself, we talk Michigan, Michigan State, and the Pistons. Talking hoops happens all the way through the NBA Finals. And could you imagine if the Pistons are in the NBA Finals? If you ever have a hoops question for us, you can drop it at Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook, and Talking Hoops every Tuesday at 5 p.m. presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew.
Avello Airlines knows you love the Tigers because they love them too. It's why they have direct flights to Lakeland, Florida out of both Grand Rapids and Detroit. Thursdays and Sundays are nonstop out of GR, and Wednesdays and Saturdays are nonstop out of Detroit. So wherever you are in Michigan, you can get down to spring training to watch your Tigers. With everyday low fares, reliable service, you do not want to fly any other way. Head to AvelloAir.com to book your trip now. That's AVELO air.com and use code HUGE for $20 off a round-trip base fare if you book before March 31st. Restrictions do apply.
Lake Michigan Credit Union is proud to be the official sponsor of Detroit Tigers spring training. Get to the ballpark today and enjoy family fun. LMCU is providing tickets to winners who enter our Tigers Tuesday contest. Text the word Tigers to 21,000 and register for tickets today. And listen to The Huge Show to see if you're a winner. It's brought to you by our friends at LMCU. You'll love banking there.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, this is taboo for the National Football League. Owners don't want to see this. Teams don't want to see this. Members of the media love reporting on it, and fans love seeing it because and talk show hosts love seeing it too. It creates a buzz. All right, and I'm not talking about alcohol or pot here. I'm talking about grades of players, grades of owners, and grades of general managers. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear first? You want to hear how players graded out, owners, or general managers? I'm going to give you some players, okay? How the players graded out the survey is what I'm referring to, okay? For the Lions, and this is where the league gets upset. They get upset because it's the players who choose the categories. So they use the categories of treatment of families. How does the organization treat players' families? Lions get a B+. How is the home game field? How is Ford Field? But the field itself, not the facility. B-. How's the food and dining area? B. Nutritionist. A-. Locker room. A. Makes sense. Training room, A-. Training staff, B+. Weight room, A. The weight room at the Allen Park facility is beautiful. Strength coaches, A. Position coaches, A-. Offensive coordinator, that was John Morton, C-. Didn't fare too well. The defensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard, got a B. I'm not saying this would be your grade scale. I'm just telling you what players said. Special teams coordinator, A. Traveled, B. Head coach, A. General manager, Brad Holmes, A-. Team ownership, A. There were 18 A's given to NFL owners by the players who play for them. Okay? Give me a team, or I'll give you a team, and you tell me what you think their grade was. Okay? Ready to play a little game? Let's just do our division. Vikings. What do you think Vikings players graded their ownership group?
I got no idea, actually.
It's an A+.
Okay. I mean, I've never heard anything bad or good, really, about the Vikings either way.
Yeah. This is not easy. But there's not that many grades to hand out. The Lions, as you know, got an A. What do you think the Bears got?
C.
A-.
Really? That seems high. Because that's a team that I have heard bad things about the ownership and management, you know?
And the Packers.
That's a weird one because they don't really have an owner. I'll go B+.
A-. Every team in the division got an A.
Wow.
So the best teams, Vikings, Ravens, Broncos, Commanders, they all received A+. The other A's, this may surprise you because it surprised me. Raiders, wouldn't have guessed that. Texans, Dolphins, wouldn't have guessed that. Colts, Jags, Falcons, Seahawks, Bills. This must have been taken before there was a shot at one particular wide receiver. Saints, Bears, Packers, Niners, Chargers. Okay? Obviously, Lions were in there. Who got the worst grade?
For ownership, the Saints.
No, I just said the Saints got an A.
Oh, my bad.
That's all right.
No, who finished last? Hit me.
Cardinals.
That makes sense.
The F. They got an F.
Wow.
Okay?
That's embarrassing.
The Bengals got a D+. The Bucks got a D. The Steelers got a D-. And the Cardinals got an F. There's your owners. General managers. Where do you think Brad Holmes finished as a general manager?
Top 10.
He got an A-. The A- are Eric DeCosta, Brandon Beane, Ryan Poles, Brad Holmes, and then I don't have to get into it. The worst and the only general manager to get a D or worse is Bill's general manager, Joe Shane. And now he's the president.
I was going to guess Jerry Jones.
Just
as far as like the players not liking him, I could see him being down there.
In fairness, to you know what surprises me? Howie Roseman for Philadelphia got a B. That surprises me. Jerry Jones is not on the list.
Oh, did they list their official general manager? I guess I don't know the guy's name, but
they listed they listed Jerry Jones as the owner.
Okay.
I don't know who I thought he was their general manager. There's no Jones on the list, as in the name, because I thought if it's not him, it's got to be one of his sons. I'm sorry, they did list him. I apologize. They gave him a B. All right, they gave him a B.
That's generous.
Okay, very, very generous. All right, last one, and that's the coaches. Where do you think Dan Campbell rated?
A.
He got an A. Sean McVay and Dan Quinn got A pluses. Mike McDonald, Andy Reid, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, Mike Vrabel, Aaron Glenn.
Well,
Kevin O'Connell, Nick Sirianni, Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, Dave Canales, Zach Taylor, Brian Schottenheimer, D'Amico Ryans, Shane Steichen, Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore, Kyle Shanahan, all got A's. Jonathan Gannon got fired. He got a B plus. John Harbaugh got fired. He got a B. Raheem Morris got fired. He got a B plus. Okay.
The John Harbaugh one makes sense because I'm assuming that's the Ravens players, obviously, that voted on that. And it seemed like he kind of got stale there at the end. But I think if Giants players were to vote right now, they'd give him an A.
Well, yeah.
I think they would.
Yeah. I don't know how they would even determine it yet because he hasn't coached a single practice or a game.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're buying into what he's selling already. Whereas I feel
who do you think got the worst grade of all the NFL coaches? Who got the worst grade?
This includes guys that got fired, correct?
Correct.
I don't know.
Kevin Stefanski. He got a C minus.
Jeez, that's a shame.
Last quiz for you. What do you think Jim Harbaugh got?
B.
He got a C plus.
Okay. Yeah, he's not for everybody, and that's why I would never go A, but I think C plus is a little low.
Yeah. So you got a C plus. Same as Pete Carroll, believe it or not. So that's why I think you've got to take everything with a grain of salt. When you have fired coaches getting high grades, what is it that people are looking for? This is part of the reason I think the league is so frustrated at something like this being released. I wonder if every league did this, where Detroit teams would rank. Anyway. All right. Lindsey Hunter is going to join us on the opposite side. Lindsey Hunter of the podcast Crossover and the two-time world champion. We will talk more NBA with Lindsey Hunter and perhaps a little Olympics since we haven't talked to him since the Olympics ended. We'll talk about that and more. We're brought to you this hour by Avelo Airlines. Go to AveloAir.com and book your flight to Lakeland today. They fly direct from Grand Rapids to Lakeland, from Detroit to Lakeland. You're listening and watching X's and Bros on a Ferris Coffee Friday on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Hey, when you travel, you want low fares, you want reliable service, and you want a direct flight. Avelo Air gives you all of that and more. Avelo Air has direct flights to take Tigers fans to spring training in Lakeland. Avelo Air will take you from Grand Rapids to Lakeland directly on Thursdays and Sundays. They will take you directly from Detroit to Lakeland on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You literally land 20 minutes from the ballpark. You don't have to wait in lines. You don't have to worry about any of that other hassle. This is hassle-free travel like you deserve. Go to AveloAir.com and get $20 off a base fare round-trip flight to Lakeland when you book your trip by March 31st. All you have to do is use the code HUGE. That's HUGE on AveloAir.com. Restrictions do apply. See AveloAir.com for details today.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
Certain opinions carry more weight. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. We also stream live on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook as well. Anytime you talk with a world champion like Lindsey Hunter, his words carry a little bit more weight when it comes to the game of basketball, and he joins us part of the Crossover podcast with Tim Hardaway. Find it on YouTube. Find it anywhere you get your podcast. If you love basketball, if you want to talk about the Pistons, but not just the Pistons, the entire NBA, this is the podcast for you. It's called Crossover with Lindsey Hunter, a two-time world champion and Hall of Famer Tim Hardaway Sr. Lindsey, always good to visit with you, my friend. Before we dive into basketball, this is the first time we've had a chance to chat since the Olympics and, of course, the gold medal game. How much did you watch and how much did you get caught up in that, and what was your overall feeling of pride when you saw that happen?
Well, of course, the Olympics is always, it moves all of us in a certain way because of what it represents and the history of it. So it's always a great feeling, especially when we come out on top. It's always a prideful feeling, a feeling of, people representing our country that they're not getting paid for it, so they're doing it truly for the love of the game. So it always makes you feel, you get a little warm feeling inside about it.
I was listening to Dwayne Wade the other day on a podcast, and he's got the Pistons and the Spurs going to the finals. He's a believer in both, even though there's plenty of time left. Those two teams played earlier in the week, and we talked to your partner on Crossover Podcast, Tim Hardaway, about it. How much do you glean from the win over Oklahoma City, the loss to San Antonio, and now what is expected of them against Cleveland, knowing that there will be no Donovan Mitchell and no James Harden in this game?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, a win is a win, but of course, when teams are shorthanded, you still kind of look at it as, okay, I still want them to be, I want them to be healthy. I want everybody to play, and I want a true measurement.
Mm-hmm.
We're still missing Beef Stew, which is an integral part of our squad. But overall, I think the Pistons have done a decent job. I think playing San Antonio, it showed us that solving the Wemby puzzle is something that has to be done, and it's not that easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
They won 10, 11 games straight, and although the Pistons did a wonderful job defensively against Wemby, he is a force in the paint to score on. It's just tough to figure him out.
Who does he remind you of?
Gosh, I can't even. I think he's a little. And the younger people probably won't remember this name, but he's like a modern day Ralph Sampson.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. But I think he's more athletic than Ralph Sampson.
Yeah. I don't even know if he's more athletic. He just can do more, and
okay, that's a better way to put it.
Bigs back in the day, they were kind of put in a box and weren't allowed to evolve like this kid has evolved, and he's truly become an anomaly.
Let me give you a couple of quick fires here before we dive back into the Pistons. Con Knippel made 8 threes last night, tied a season high for him, and a career high because he's a rookie. He's got 209 on the year now, and that sets a new NBA rookie record. He's got a long. He ain't catching Steph Curry or James Harden for the 1 or 2 spot in a single season. But he's been better than I think a lot of people expected. He was the 4th overall pick out of Duke. Sometimes numbers overtake us in the world of sports. What do you look at with Con Knippel and 209 threes made, and he's on pace for 290? You like him? How much should we read into it? And what are your thoughts overall on that type of achievement?
Well, first of all, I absolutely love Knippel. I watched him play. I watched him at Duke.
Yeah.
And I just remember stories saying when he first signed with Duke that they told him, hey, you may not play much this year. We're loaded. And he ends up being the 2nd best player on that team. So his story is kind of fascinating, and just watching him evolve and really become a legitimate budding star in the NBA, man. he's neck and neck with Cooper Flagg for Rookie of the Year. And if Cooper don't get back, it may be his to lose, you know. But watching him, man, and in this new NBA where the three ball is just such a vital part of a lot of teams' game plan, he fits right in, and it's really skyrocketed him to being a super valuable asset in this league.
Kevin Durant is the other, and he scored 40 last night. Durant did in the Houston win over Orlando. He's tied Kobe Bryant for fifth most 30-point games in history with 431, and he becomes the sixth player in history to score 32,000 points in a career. He's getting up there, but he sure doesn't play like it. What's amazed you most about how his game continues to stay at such a high level?
He's just such an efficient scorer. And KD's one of those guys who he really doesn't rely on the three ball as much as a lot of guys do in this day and age. He is one of the pure mid-range assassins. And I think we get to witness that every time he comes to Detroit. I think he has the highest points per game against the Pistons than he does against any other team in the NBA, which just fascinates me because every time he comes here, it's like he feels good and he can't miss. So I'm not surprised by the success he's had. And had he not had a few of those injuries that he had, he'd probably be far ahead of where he is now.
Do you think he's the best mid-range shooter in the history of the game?
I'm not going to say the best. I'll give him second best because I think Michael Jordan holds that title.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. Lindsey Hunter joining us here on X's and Bros. He of the Crossover podcast with Tim Hardaway. Check it out on the places you get your podcasts, especially YouTube. That way you can see Lindsey and Tim talking about it. You had mentioned 3-point being so vital, the three ball being so vital to teams right now. If there is Achilles heel for the Pistons, that's what it would be. How detrimental will that be for them, do you think, in a long playoff run, or what they hope will be a long playoff run?
Well, watching them bounce back with OKC the other night, Duncan Robinson hit I think he was 3 for 9 from the three-point line, and he has to be a threat. Like, he has to get a certain amount of shots, and, you know, he has to be a threat to make them. I think the better he plays, the more teams will not crowd the lane against the Pistons, and it'll allow Duran and K operating room. And I think that's super important. So if we can keep Duncan going and keeping him a threat, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, we do need to be more consistent. And, you know, Cade he doesn't take a lot of threes, but if he, you know, gets to going, he can make them as well. But we do need someone besides Cade to kind of open that offense up for us because, you know, Duran needs room to operate, Cade needs room to operate, and if guys can kind of stretch the defense and get guys spread out a little more, it'll be much better for the Pistons.
You spent 17 years in the league. If you were the commissioner of the NBA, but if Lindsey Benson Hunter were in charge of fixing something that is a problem with the league right now, what would it be? Because there's a lot of people right now, Lee, who just feel like there's some major problems with whether it be the gambling issues in the past,
right?
The inconsistent refereeing, which has always been an issue, but the tanking problem as well. There are some things that the NBA has to deal with if they want to be seen like they did way back when you played.
Right. But think about it. Tanking has always been in the NBA. It's always been there. It's always been the elephant in the room. We've seen teams tank and be successful at it and end up, you know, with guys like Tim Duncan. So it's a problem, I think. But I think Adam Silver will come up with a solution for it. If it was me, I'd have a tournament for all the teams that are in the lottery, and I'd make a play for the lottery, their positioning. Hey, we're going to play a tournament for positioning. If you don't compete, you'll be knocked out of the lottery selection. So I think there are a lot of different ways that they're going to try to fix it. Hopefully they do something about it. But we've always been taught to compete, regardless of how bad your team was.
Right.
But a lot of things have changed since I played in the league, and but it's always been around. It's always kind of been there. But I don't think it's
okay.
Watching how teams are doing it now is just different. Like
and it's not just the NBA, by the way. It's not just the NBA. And I used this example the other day, and then I'll let you go. And I want your thoughts on it. Max Crosby plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's one of the best defensive ends in football. He wanted to play at the end of the year. They said, you're not playing. That's not on the player. That's not on Max Crosby. That's not on his mindset. That's on the organization. Where I don't think it's fair to blame players for this stuff. They may not be as good, but this is an organizational situation. This is a coaching, GM, ownership situation with some teams in the league. Not all, but some teams in the league. And I just don't want that mindset to creep in all the time to everybody.
Right. And that's totally fair because, players do want to play. When you hear about, not playing Max Crosby because, they may want to try to get the first pick, or the Utah Jazz benching their starters in the second half because, for whatever reason, those things aren't fair, because the majority of players want to play, whether they're trying to fulfill incentives on their contract or just for the pure love of the game. So there needs to be something done about it. I think each sport has a task of dealing with it. The NBA probably more so because there are, more teams that have the opportunity to tank. But hopefully they get it solved and we won't have this problem forever.
Yeah, it's also talked about more in the league, number one. And number two, it's more blatantly obvious because you can sit guys who are not as talented as obviously your starters, and that gets more of a recognition because of the limited number of players. If you sit a guy in football, then you still have a lot of other guys from which to choose. In basketball, it's a little different story for sure. Thanks for the time. As always, my friend, have a great weekend. Keep up the great work on Crossover Podcast. Love it, especially when you guys had Grant Long on the other day. Really enjoy it. It's really evolved. It's getting better as you guys do more. So keep up the great work. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Shep. All right.
Oh, you bet. Lindsey Hunter from the Crossover Podcast joining us here on X's and Bros. And I mean that sincerely. I know people love their podcasts these days. I think the best podcasts are oftentimes, 40, 45 minutes or so, because you've got a lot of stuff going on in your life. You want to take the dogs for a walk, you're listening. You want to be on the treadmill, you'll listen a little bit. These guys do it the right way. So it's really good. So check that out. It's Crossover Podcast. Lindsey Hunter, Tim Hardaway, Sr., and both have joined us on a regular basis here on X's and Bros, and we're proud of it. Let's get to the final results of the poll question and the daily wager. Yesterday's poll question: which player is most likely to be moved? Now, we just mentioned Max Crosby with Lindsey Hunter. Max Crosby was part of this. Max Crosby, Kyler Murray, A.J. Brown, or Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I mentioned Tua Tagovailoa. When you have a team openly saying, hey, we're listening, other teams are kind of like, well, we don't know what our roster is going to look like. The Raiders have come out and supported Max Crosby, that they still want him. Tua's a little different, but it's interesting to get the final results. What were the final results of our Mitch Lyons-Wealth poll question?
Pretty even race. Kyler Murray got 33%, A.J. Brown 28%, Tua Tagovailoa 23%, Max Crosby, that was my vote, just 16%. But I think there's a world where all four of these guys get moved. What do you think?
I do too. I would have voted Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray, A.J. Brown, Max Crosby. I know Max Crosby wants out, but I remind people that Myles Garrett said the same thing in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think people just forget, especially in football, it's a little bit, not even a little bit, it's a lot harder to force yourself out. In the NBA, we see it all the time, and
It's
guys do it like nobody's
Yeah, I would
business.
say it's harder to force yourself out when you carry that type of cap hit.
Yeah, like they're not going to
Max
trade him,
Crosby has.
Unless.
So I think it's not that they can't trade Max Crosby. I think they can. There's just got to be a certain situation for you to have it. Our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question today: which basketball team in the state of Michigan has the best chance to win a title? Pistons, Michigan, Michigan State, or other? And the reason we put other is because Michigan and Michigan State women are both pretty good, both ranked in the top 15. You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. I've retweeted it from Shep Matt, and we can give you the results on Monday when we're back in the chair. The Daily Wager. You had the Red Wings last night. They won 2-1 in overtime. How did you do on that, and what do you have for the weekend for us?
Yeah, we just took money line. Luckily, I stayed away from the puck line, so it doesn't matter that they only won by a goal. This weekend, I got to take the Pistons -6 right now, given the injury news for the Cavs.
Tonight. You're saying tonight, not against Orlando. Right.
I would be shocked if the Pistons, if that line doesn't move to at least 8 by game time. So I'll take the 6 right now.
Are you surprised it's only 6 right now?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Just because, their 2 best players are out, that's...
Well, their 2 best scorers are out. I think when Donovan Mitchell, when it was released, Donovan Mitchell's out.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. First of all, good on the Pistons. That's a big deal for them. That helps the scouting report, if you will. All right. And he's out with an injured groin. And second of all, that money line has to move big.
It already has moved a little bit. I think it opened at like 4.5 and it's moved to 6 already. So jump on it now.
Yeah. Amen to that. Good stuff. We want to thank Jake Chapman for joining us, the play-by-play voice of the Orlando Magic. Thank you to Lindsey Hunter, but most of all, thank you to you for giving us some of your Ferris Coffee Friday. We're back